Welcome to the Flight Club Podcast, a woman's guide to leaning out. We give you a behind-the-scenes look at business launch and growth through the stories of successful female entrepreneurs. Here's your host, Felina Hansen, founder and CEO of Hera Hub.
Hello and welcome. I'm excited for my conversation today with Beth Nydick. She is a former TV producer and a New Jersey-based publicity and business strategist expert with a roster of celebrity and rising entrepreneur clients. She knows what it means to truly be ready for the spotlight. As a result of working with Beth, her clients confidently appear on TV and media with a solid business foundation while using media and strategy to also scale their business. She has been featured on many outlets and publications, including Oprah, Parade, Forbes, Inc., Nylon Magazine, Tory Burch, Better Homes and Gardens, just to name a few. She's also appeared on The Drew Barrymore Show, The Chew, ABC, CBS, NBC, The Tonight Show. I know there are many others, but we'll pause there and dive into the real story here, live and in person with Beth. Welcome to the show today, Beth.
Oh, thank you so much. I so appreciate it.
Of course. Well, you have done a lot in your career. Pretty amazing. I'm sure you have many stories, many stories. And you are born and bred in New Jersey, from what I understand.
Yep.
Love it.
Yeah, I give lots of Jersey love.
Jersey love.
I can be really straightforward and understand that it comes from a deep love for everyone, that I want them to be successful and get out of their own way.
Exactly. I love that. I have to be honest. Sometimes when I'm cheeky and I get in my direct. I'm born and bred in California, so I'm a little softer over here. But I always sometimes I'll joke oh, that's my New York coming out at me.
Yes, I love that. It's awesome.
Someone will look at me like, I thought you're from California. I'm like, no, you don't understand. That's just my New Yorker coming out. So
yes.
I love it. Awesome. Well, excited to share your story, your path. And we'll obviously get to the point where you made the decision to, work for yourself, take a jump off the cliff, so to speak, and become an entrepreneur. That was back in 2011. But before we get there, let's go way back. Start off with early choices. I know you were an entrepreneurial child, selling stickers and all kinds of stuff on the playground, making money at an early age. But let's start off with college. Why did you decide to go to Ithaca, and what did you study?
I studied television production and corporate communications at that point. This was 91 to 95 when I was in college. But I knew from a young age that I wanted to be on TV or be involved in TV. I was an actress as a little kid, and always doing the school plays and doing community theater and that kind of stuff. And I got myself a TV commercial, which never aired, but I was still in the studio, and I fell in love with being in studio. And I wanted to go to a college that I was allowed to be in studio my freshman year. Because, living in New Jersey, Syracuse, the Newhouse School, NYU, Tisch, there's great schools, but I wanted to be able to be hands-on from the start, because at that time, those programs you started later being the hands-on. And I just fell in love with lights, camera, action is really what it is, being in front of the camera, being behind the camera, but overall continuing to tell a story through the visual medium just always spoke to me in my heart.
Yeah, absolutely. And what an amazing industry to be a part of for this period of time of so many changes, right? I mean, you've seen so much.
I saw the rise of social media into TV. So my first job out of school was actually with MTV. That
must have been amazing. What a dream job out of college.
Well, I'll tell you the background story because I think it's interesting to other people. I was in a bar in Hoboken, and there were these two guys behind me talking, and one of them was wearing an MTV News t-shirt. And I heard him talking about, and I figured that he worked at MTV. So I turned around and I was like, hi, my name's Beth. I would love to work at MTV. How did that happen? He happened to have his girlfriend who worked in HR, and I had an interview with her 2 days later.
What? That's amazing. Hey, it speaks to, just asking, striking up a conversation with somebody.
And that's really like a bottom line of everything I've done. And that's honestly my keynote is ask for what you want, or how to ask for what you want, because not doing it on purpose. And my parents are also entrepreneurs. So I grew up in a house of doing. I grew up in a house of like, I have this idea, I'm going to create this thing for my business, and watching my parents actually do it and build a big successful business. So I was taught, like, you just need to open your mouth and tell people what you want, and then you make it happen. And I didn't really understand that till I became a coach and helping other people. That was not how the world worked. I just thought everyone did that. But it took me a little time to getting into business or getting into even working in these television agencies, that's not how the world actually works. It's just how I happen to work.
Yeah, no, I grew up very similar, Beth. Both what I call rebellious entrepreneurial parents who basically never worked for anybody else, and same. That's just how, when I told my dad I was going to college and getting a job, he was like, "What?" Like, neither of my parents had even graduated from college. It was just a whole different world. Okay, so let's dive in. You were at MTV for a few years. Must have been an amazing role to play right out of school. Where did you go from there?
It was an amazing experience because I got to like meet celebrities and go on, create parties, and I really lived it up that time. But I wanted to be in production. I really wanted to be like on set. So I again met somebody in a bar. I haven't thought about this in so long. Like I'm in New York in the 90s, that's what you did, I guess. And I got to work on commercials, but I got to work on I Teach America. I got to work on projects that were really close to like my interest and like what I was interested. Like I was, I'm always into community and supporting people and making an impact. So that I was able to do that through that job. And I really loved working as a production person. At that time I was still getting coffee, making copies and doing that kind of stuff, but I would like read the script as I copied it, and eventually I got to like make decisions and be a part of it and understand how being in production means taking chaos and making it mean something.
And this was in TV production, is that right?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. It was TV commercial, documentary style, videos for corporate meetings, that kind of stuff. But it was like a full-blown ad agency, and I learned what it's like to come up with a concept, write the script, shoot, figure out what the shots were going to be. I really learned it was like film school for me for 3 years.
Amazing. I love it. What was your favorite part about that role that you had? You had several roles within the company, but what was your favorite thing to do?
I think it was the overall strategy of what the messaging was. And that's, that leads to today is where I do a lot. Messaging is like the big part of what I do, and which the part I do love is really figuring out what that message is. Because I say to my clients all the time, like, what is that message in your gut that you need the world to understand? And I think I learned that from my boss, Fred was his name, at Wonder Cato Johnson, because he would be like, what's the gut message? And I think that story, like the storytelling and the story brand that we work on today, really comes from that.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I want to get into the work you did with Fox News as a celebrity booker. What is the real deal on that, Beth? Because I think we kind of fantasize like I'm gonna book people. I'm doing this thing. Like, what is that really like?
So this was Fox News before it was like a cable news station. It was just like a cable show, a cable station that was around news. And this guy, his name was Rob Nelson. I don't ever know what happened to him, but he was a conservative guy. He wrote a couple of books, and they wanted him to have his own talk show. And that's the staff I was on. And we had celebrity, like Deborah Messing was on, Jerry O'Connell was on, like anyone who had anything promoting at that time was actually on the show. And got to be a part of it. And then the show turned into like a Bill Maher kind of style where we're talking about what was going on with the day. And then as the show went on, we had, swingers or like, all different kinds of, of life come on and be a part of the show. But it was, it took me back to when I interned with the Tonight Show in LA when I was still in college. And it was the same, the format was very much the same. And I really liked that, being able to like meet with a guest. Like we had Wayne Brady on before he was Wayne Brady. So there's been like 6 or 7 people that were on that I've been able to see the trajectory of of their careers. But I remember meeting on the phone, because there was no Zoom at that time, with Wayne Brady, and really learning about him and learning about what was important to him, and then creating the script and the story from what his passions were. And it was a great learning ground. And plus it was in the middle of New York City, right across the street from Rockefeller Center. So I would see people on the street all the time. But I got to really meet and really dive into who people really were. And I think one of the reasons I actually got that celebrity booker position was because I was not afraid to talk to celebrities. Because when I worked at the Tonight Show, I was like the green room girl, which means that you took people to the bathroom. Like I took Rita, like Tom Hanks was once on, because that was the summer of Forrest Gump. Okay. And I took him to I took Rita Wilson to the bathroom, and she like held my hand on the way back. And I just remember like thinking, I hope she washed her hands. I just never got that celebrity struckness after like talking to Jay Leno for a couple hours once, every week or whatever. So I had a beeper. I would meet them at their car, the whole thing.
That's amazing. A beeper. I haven't heard that in a while.
I know. Well, it was, 2000.
I know.
I got my first cell phone. My husband, not my husband at that time, but it was like a birthday present, and he bought me my first cell phone, and everybody on the staff was like, "Oh my God, a phone."
Well, did you have this period of time, Beth, where you carried around a beeper and a cell phone at the same time, right? Like you remember that? Like somebody would beep you and then you would call them back. It was like, wait, when I look back on that, it seemed totally normal at the time. I don't know if like calls were expensive or something, but like.
That's so funny.
So
I guess.
Anyways, thank goodness we don't do that anymore. All right. Yes. What was next for you?
Well, then I got married. And then I got pregnant. So in between that, my parents run a high-end luxury international travel company. And my dad said to me, I'm going to send you to Israel, go write a book, or a marketing book for the company. And I did.
Oh, cool.
And they started the company in 1986, and it is still going now very successfully. So I've always kind of worked with them, but I knew that I wanted to be a mom. That's just something that I always knew that I wanted, and I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah. So
I got to do that, and then I got pregnant, and I had my first child 4 years later.
Awesome. Okay, so let's kind of pivot over to health and fitness, and your journeys into that, and really kind of the launch of your business, so to speak, or entrepreneurial career, if you will, back in 2011.
Well, my kids, both kids went to school, I tried to, like elementary school, kindergarten, I tried to be like a tennis mom. I couldn't play tennis because I'm not that coordinated, but I just, I would go for lunch and classes or whatever. And I was like, this is not enough.
Yeah.
My mom was like, she said to me, what do you like to do that you think you can help other people do? So I started Beth's Blueprint. I went back and got certified. I'm a holistic health coach. And I would literally teach women how to make like roast chicken in my house. I would have cooking classes. I was, I was doing nutrition with them, but I really didn't love that health coaching, because it's when you deal with food, it's a lot of therapy, right? It's a lot of like mindset. And I was like, this is not what I want to be doing. I want to be out there. I want to be, and this is when the internet started ramping up. I had like a blog when the kids were little, and I'm always been very techie. So I was like, I realized, hey, I can post stuff on Facebook, because that's what was available right at that point. And I can, be a TV person or be a food blogger. So I really leaned into being a food blogger for the next couple of years. And I had Beth's Blueprint, and then it was called Blueprint for Health and Wellness. Then it was called the Blueprint Cooking Club, trying to figure out what it was. But in 2015, I got noticed by a Dr. Oz blogger from Facebook.
Interesting.
Yeah. And he connected me. I did a whole series with him for KitchenAid. They came out to my house. His Daphne Oz came here, and we did a whole segment, and we made, I don't know, ice cream or something in the blender. Something, I don't remember what it was. But it really started the trajectory of me being able to leverage my background as being a producer and being in the TV world, and couple that with the medium of food and bringing that forward. So in 2000, I did that for a couple of years, being a food blogger, and I was doing Dr. Oz and The Chew and lots of online videos. I would say that my first TV experience was actually at my town's high school. They have a huge TV studio, and I was doing a weekly what we're making for dinner. And I was doing that on my own platforms.
That's
And
cool.
then in 2016, I had a Cinco de Mayo party at my house. And I had made a couple of cocktails I had made because I was a bartender in college.
Mhm.
And my friends were like, there's no sugar in these? What do you mean there's not? Simple syrup. And that's when I have a cocktail book called Clean Cocktails, Righteous Recipes for the Modern Mixologist. That's how that got born, out of I just made it for a party, and I was standing in my living room watching my friends drink and enjoy the cocktails, and thinking, oh, my nutrition clients keep asking me if they can have a drink on the weekends.
Yeah.
Can I celebrate this? Can I celebrate that? And 2 years later, we had a deal with Norton, and we have a fully published, my co-writer and I were published in 2017, and we are on our third printing of the book.
That's awesome. I love it. I will have to check that out.
Yeah, I will send you a copy. But it was I knew I had a good idea.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you, my uncle told me, you're not a drinker. How do you know about cocktails? My friends were like, I don't understand. Isn't a bartender should be doing this? But I saw out on Amazon what kind of books were out there for people like me and my nutrition clients, and what they were asking, what they were talking about. And everybody I told that didn't tell me it was because I'm not a big drinker. I'm like, I can drink a couple, but no, I'm not a big drinker. That it was a good idea. And I enrolled enough people in it to support the idea. We found my co-writer had a connection. We found an amazing, amazing agent. And we took our cocktails on the road and got lots of people drunk, and finally got a really great deal with Norton, who we were so lucky to have. And we have a beautiful published book all about drinking healthy cocktails with all those horrible chemicals that you would find in bars and restaurants.
Well, you were definitely ahead of your time, because now all these canned cocktails, one of our members at Hera Hub is called Spa Girl cocktails, just this skinny girl kind of, low calorie, low sugar kind of thing. So you were well ahead of your time.
Yeah, we actually explored that once the book came out. For us, it just wasn't the right step. We didn't have that. At that time, I feel like we didn't have the experience. Maybe we didn't have the guts to really go after it. But also, I didn't want to be a owner of a canned cocktail company. I wanted to do something more visual for myself.
Yeah. But you did get into bars, is that right? Meal snack bars?
Yeah, we did a lot of celebrity bartending, and we did a lot of putting our cocktails on the menu, and doing special evenings. And during the pandemic, we did a lot of holiday parties where we would send the participants all the ingredients, and they would make the cocktails along with us.
Yeah.
I'm glad I had a partner doing it. It was a lot of work, but we really stuck together because we knew we had an amazing idea and made it happen.
That's awesome. And a different kind of bar, a snack bar, a meal replacement bar. You also did something in that as well, right? I
did. So my nephew was a triathlete, and my son was a lacrosse player, and they would always complain how hungry they always were. Mm-hmm. So just like any mom that likes to cook, I made them this snack bar that was peanut butter based with all these seeds and nuts and great ingredients. And they would take them with them, and then they would share them with their friends. And then I would get calls from their mom asking if I would make them some too. And I was like, when you have an idea that people are asking you about, you have to do something with it. So we ended up in 11 stores in 2019. We were planning on pushing full steam ahead in 2020, but as everybody knows, that didn't happen. And a lot of unfortunately, we lost a lot of those kinds of stores over the pandemic.
Yeah.
So we shelved the idea. Once in a while, I'll get a message from somebody on Facebook like, hey, do you still make those bars? I'd love to buy some. So you never know. One day, maybe we'll pick it back up. To be completely honest, my husband was very happy when we stopped making them, because we were still making them at that point, and he was primarily making them. And he was happy to not smell like peanut butter all the time.
I bet. So bars and bars, two kinds of bars.
Exactly.
There you go. Awesome. Well, let's talk about your work now, present day, what you do, how you help clients. I mean, it looks like you're just blending all these amazing aspects of what you do and who you are into one.
Yeah, I feel like I really if I look back, all the dots do connect to what I'm doing now, because the book came out and we had hired a publicist that was very capable, but we weren't that happy with what happened and the amount of money we spent on her. Yeah. So I said to my co-writer, I can do this. Let me just try this for a little bit. Yeah. And the book exploded. We really were everywhere. I remember one day we were sitting on her porch and I was like, let's just call publicists and see if we can get like a celebrity to endorse it. I called like Tom Hanks's publicist and I was like, hi, this is Beth Nydick from Cocktail Creations. Like I just, nobody ever called us back. But after doing that, I realized how much more I love talking about business and creating storylines than talking about food. So I gave up the whole food business and the whole food background that I had. And I started Beth Nydick Media, which really came out of understanding how much more I like to do it. And a huge mistake I made when I was at Dr. Oz. I had my whole website set up, right? I had my coach, I had enough bandwidth. So all those people that came to my website could come and see my website and give me their email address. Yeah. Because when you have media, part of it is you want people to follow you or give you their email address.
Yeah.
So I remember late at night, finishing up the last thing, closing it down. And then when I got home and looked at my computer after the shoot, and then 2 days later after the episode aired, I went back to see how many emails I had gotten, and I got 0 emails. And I know how many people came to my website. What I didn't understand was that I had paused the opt-in, the lead magnet. I know it's like 6 or 7 years ago now. Yeah. And it still hurts. And whenever I tell anybody that's the reaction they have. So when I went back into thinking like how I could help people with media, I started hearing the same story from other people. Or like I was on the Today Show, but I don't know what to do with it. And I was like, it just hurt me. Honestly, it hurt me deep down inside. So that's when I started Beth Nydick Media, to be able to not only help clients in earning PR as an agency for them, but really teaching them how to earn their own media while making sure their business is actually ready for it so they can monetize and leverage all those activities that they've been doing. Too often in the space, I feel like people are just trying to teach you how to get it. Yeah. And I really want to make sure that because getting it honestly is not the hard part. It's what you do with it afterwards and how you make it work for you is the hard part.
Yeah.
The book that we have is fantastic, but the money we made from the book is all the opportunities we created because of the book. Yeah. Not because we got it graded. We spent the advance on the photographer, and the food styling and all that stuff. Yeah. Instead, so now I have a group program. I do consulting. I have a few agency clients with amazing women that I really know that I can take them to the next level. I have this woman right now. She's in the medical space, but she talks about how your symptoms are not in your head just because the doctor doesn't tell you they are. And I can see that she could be the next big doctor, right? I can see that she could be the next big person in medicine that really helps women who aren't sick yet not get to the point that are sick. So the inspiration that I get from these people who I can support in getting media for them or getting their own media, especially my group program. I tell you, I had a call right before we're recording this. And one of the amazing people that are in that said to me, this is the first time I've had women in a group that wanted me to succeed. I know I could cry a little bit, but it was like, that's why I do this, because we can all succeed. I just know that we can succeed together. And my differentiator is that I'm an implementer. I'm also like a manifester if anyone's into the human design side. But like I'm about action, right? Ask for what you want, make a plan and do it. Because I want everyone to get there. And I feel like that's not a universal message that people get. So I've been lucky enough to work with amazing people who I've been able to watch and help them get to where they want to go.
That's phenomenal. That's exciting.
I'm so lucky. I feel really blessed about it.
Well, and refreshing to hear your approach too, Beth. As somebody, I had a marketing agency prior to launching my current business and worked with a lot of publicists on behalf of my clients. I was doing more of the kind of 30,000 foot strategy. And so many folks are not implementers. They want to create a strategy. They want to do this, but nobody wants to actually like make it happen. I mean, that's overstretch, but so it's a tricky industry and it's changing constantly. I mean,
it is, but that's where my Jersey love and that ability for like my superpower is seeing the holes and being able to plug them. Because I've been in the digital space. Like I really started my first business 2009-10, learning how to market on digital. So I've seen it all. I've been there. I've done it. I understand what it looks like. So when people come to me with like a Swiss cheese business, we're able to plug those holes really easily and get them on their way. Because I find that too many people just want to teach you stuff and not actually I guess it comes back to because I was a holistic health coach. I holistically want to look at your business while I'm pushing you to be better. I'm pushing you to be more. I'm pushing you to like get to that place that you want to be, because once you get to a certain, I know you know this, but once you get to a certain place in your business, it's all if you can get to the next level, not if your business can get to the next level.
Yeah, absolutely. Makes sense. Well, Beth, what's one thing you're most excited about for the upcoming year? One thing you're launching or doing?
So I'm launching my group program again in May. And I'm looking for amazing women that understand that visibility is their next space that they need to go into to get to where they want to be. It's for people who have, like I said, that thing in their gut, they maybe not understand, but they know they need to get it out there and have that want to be able to be seen, be heard, and make an impact on other people's lives.
I love it. And if folks want to learn about that group program and all the other amazing things you're doing, what's the best way for them to do that?
The best way is to go to bethnydick.com. You can download my lead magnet right there, which right now is called Pitch Secrets. It's my top 10 television producer secrets that you should know if you want to get PR for your business. And you can find me anywhere on social media at Beth Nydick.
Love it. Awesome. Thanks so much for your time, Beth.
Thank you so much. I feel honored to be on your podcast, and I appreciate what you're putting out in the world.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining this week's episode of Flight Club, sponsored by Hera Hub. We look forward to sharing more success stories with you soon.